Intruder alert. Warning, warning. Stranger danger. Have you just went right past these red flags straight into the arms of a narcissist? Many of us have. I am certainly guilty of plowing right through the stop sign because I just want to see the best in this narcissist, want to believe the best about them, and want to prove everybody else, including myself, wrong about who he actually is. Truth be told, many of us were warned by those closest to us not to get involved with this narcissist, not to marry them, etc., etc. So today I'm going to get into some of the warning signs that I received from those around me in regards to getting into a relationship with a narcissist. Sometimes you really can be so close up on something that you can't really see it for what it actually is. And those on the outside of us, those a little bit farther away, they can see things that we can't see up close. So I am a person that can get pretty stubborn and pretty focused on something that I have my heart and mind set to. So I'm pretty committed when I do get involved with things such as like school. So I committed to several years of school until I saw my way through to the end of it. And so I pretty much approach lots of things in my life that way, including relationships at times. I think it's great to have a go-getter type attitude or mentality or approach to things, but I don't think that you can approach a relationship in the same way that you approach a college degree. And so that is a major lesson that I had to learn. So being an overachiever in an academic setting always worked for me. Being that person that sought after good grades and extra study time, all of these sorts of things, those tactics, worked very well in the academic world, but they didn't transfer over to relationships. So in general, I don't think that relationships are meant to be chased. I think that it takes two parties to be equally committed. And so that is the lesson that I had to learn with my approach. So I was definitely warned by my family not to marry the narcissist, and it was for several reasons. Number one, my family didn't think that I should be moving 5 hours away from them, being totally isolated with, this man that I hadn't known but a year. We got married a year after we met, and so they felt like that was a little bit too soon, and they also felt like that was a little bit too far away to be from them. My family also had a certain type of man that they felt like I should be with, or they saw me being with, or they thought I might end up with. And how my sister explained it to me was she thought that I was going to be with a shirt and tie guy. Um, Someone she felt like was business minded and professional minded kind of person. That's what she always saw me with. And so she didn't see the narcissist as my type in her eyes. As far as my mom always thought that I should be with someone who was serious minded, and she didn't see the narcissist as a serious minded person. My aunt and a few of my cousins felt like the narcissist was strange or weird because of his behavior. So they kind of felt like he was antisocial, and they also felt like he was hiding something. So they picked up that vibe from him. So they didn't think that I should marry him either. So for me, I'm always the person I'm going to go with my own mind. Not saying I don't consider other people's feelings or opinions, but normally make, my own decisions once I compare everything. And for me, in my mind, I just felt like, I've been waiting a very long time to even get into a relationship, or what I thought was a serious relationship. I was finally in one with the narcissist. And I just felt like I wasn't looking for perfection. I was looking for something that was practical and that would actually work. So, the relationship with the narcissist in my mind was the first serious relationship that I'd ever been in. The first time that someone had shown me an extended amount of attention, the longest relationship that I had been in. So, I pretty much took it quite seriously. And the narcissist was very good at love bombing, and so he really made me feel like he was definitely in love with me. I felt like finally, here's someone that's in love with me. I definitely had some situations where I had a crush on people, guys, and I was very much enthralled with them, but they didn't necessarily feel the same way about me. So I had had those previous experiences. So to me, being with a narcissist, this was that first time that I felt like, okay, someone is as into me as I am into them. And then sometimes I felt like he was more into me than I was into him. So that part I felt like was different, and I felt like it would be good for a making of a relationship. However, I didn't know his into me was completely false. So essentially, all of the things that the narcissist did that were considered red flags as far as his character, I pretty much, you know, I would say I overlooked them because I wanted to see the best in him. I wanted to believe that our relationship could work, um, and that, I finally could see something through for an extended period of time. And I did feel like, nobody's perfect. No relationship is perfect. I was willing to get in there and do the work, do the hard things to have the relationship to go the distance. I was also in my mid 20s, so I felt like, that would be a good time to be in a serious relationship and also look towards marriage. One major red flag that I really should have paid attention to was the narcissist made great effort to help me find a job in the state that he lived in. And he found me a pretty good job, actually, in the same field that I had a degree in. And so I did end up moving to that state where he was located. And I didn't realize it was a setup. He knew the salary of this job, which is why he, you know, told me about it and helped me apply. He even put in my information on a computer back then to apply for the job. And I ended up getting it. And of course, as soon as I moved to the new state and I got the job, he quit his job. So it was a setup from the very beginning. When I moved to the new state, I, found a church home and started going to get some counseling, just to talk to the pastor about my developing relationship with the narcissist. And the more that I told the pastor, the more I explained to him the dynamic of our relationship and a few things that were going on. The pastor told me that the narcissist was not the one. So that was definitely not news that I wanted to hear, but it's kind of one of those things, like the more you hear stuff like that, the more you feel like people are against your relationship, the more you're going to want to fight for it, the more you want to dig your heels in. And so that was basically the case for me. It was like all the negativity that I heard about the relationship just made me want to get something positive out of it, to basically to prove it all wrong, to believe the best and prove it all wrong, to defy the odds. So during the marriage to a narcissist, at some point in the marriage, the narcissist, well, there was abuse throughout the marriage, but at one point in the marriage, I was abused to the point to where my body started to shut down. So I lost control over my ability to speak correctly. I lost the ability to control one of my eyes, and I also lost the ability to control the motion of my head. And so when this happened to me, I did go to church to get prayer. And I remember a few of my church members crying, when they saw me that way. And I remember one church member came over and she was crying and she was basically begging me. She was begging me to please leave him. And I couldn't really understand that at that time, why a church member would be saying that. Because my previous experience was church people always encourage you to stay in the marriage, encourage you to pray about it. That's always been the advice. So I was kind of taken aback by that warning, but I definitely should have heeded to it because, things just got worse. The disrespect got worse. As Hebrews 3:15 says, today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your heart. And so that is the lesson that I definitely had to learn. God was speaking through several different people to let me know that I should not have gotten involved with this narcissist. But I did harden my heart and I didn't listen to them and I didn't take heed. And I paid the consequences for that. There is a way that seems right to man, but in the end thereof is destruction. Proverbs 16:18. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. So I definitely had too much pride to listen to my parents, to listen to my elders, to listen to my family members, to even listen to people in the church. Too much pride to hear anything. I thought I knew it all. And I paid the consequence for that. So to all the empathic souls out there, when you are walking the straight and narrow path, pay attention to the yellow lights and pay attention to the red lights as you continue to walk into the marvelous light.